Stress. There's so much going on in the world. You got money, you got relationships, kids. Don't even get me started. Your job, viruses, surprise pregnancies. What? No one likes your mustache? Say you look like Luigi. Death of a family member. What are the healthiest ways to cope with stress? This may be the most important thing you learn in your entire life, which is why I love psychology. Today in I Love Psychology, we're talking all about stress. What causes stress? Are there different types of stress? What is the psychological definition of conflict? Can your mind affect your body? Yes! We used to believe you could be a miserable human being and still be healthy as a horse. Nowadays we know better. If you're depressed or angry, frustrated, stressed, then your health is gonna take a hit. Silver lining though, we're also going to talk about coping. Now the good news is there's basically an oversimplification of two different ways to cope. And depending on the situation, you're going to want to choose one way over the other. That's important stuff, which is why we like to leave it at the end of the video to keep you watching, teasing you along. Please tell me, what's the healthy way to cope with stress? We'll cover it. But first, what is stress? Stress is a negative emotional state that we perceive as taxing our resources. And I love that term, taxing our resources. It's this idea that we have reserved energy, like shields. We can deflect stress coming at us. But every time it takes a hit, the shields get weakened. Captain, the shields! She can't take much more of this! Scotty from Star Trek. Stress, it eats away at us. It chops us down step by step by step. There's different sources of stress. These we call stressors. What are your stresses in life? What is stressing you out? Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh, totally. Yeah. You're not insane. That is a very valid reason to get stressed out. Hats off to you. Currently, in the world of medicine and psychology, we're intertwined because we use the biopsychosocial model of health. That means there's many factors that give us the complete picture of your health. Bio, meaning your biology, your body. Do you have a broken arm? Do you have cancer, etc.? Psycho, meaning psychology. What is your mental state like? Are you happy, stressed, angry? And then social. What is going on in your environment? Are you in a prison? Are you in a war zone? Are you on vacation? Where are you at? Those three factors combined give you a more complete picture. Today, that seems pretty common sense, but there was a time when people thought body, mind, and your environment were totally separate factors. They're not. We today have health psychology, and health psychology really examines how your psychology, your environment influence your physical health. So let's specifically talk about theories of sources of stress. Where's your stress coming from? Well, one theorist named Holmes in 1976 said it was life changes. So if you were living a life where every day was the same, like in Groundhog's Day, or a Happy Death Day, or Live, Die, Repeat, also known as The Edge of Tomorrow, if memory serves me correctly as I'm filming this, that wouldn't be stressful because you know exactly what was going to happen. We as human beings enjoy routine, and it's those changes to routine that cause us stress. In fact, Holmes believed this so much, he actually came up with a social readjustment rating scale. He ranked different changes in your life that would be more stressful. Vacation is on that list. Wait, vacation? But I thought the goal of vacation was to rest and relax. But can vacation be stressful? Yeah, because it's a change. He ranked Christmas as less stressful than vacation. I disagree, sir. Richard Lazarus had a different idea. Richard Lazarus came up with daily hassles, these everyday annoying things that happen. You could stub your toe in the morning. You could run out of shampoo in your shower. You could maybe even get a speeding ticket on your way to work and still have a relatively stress-free day. But if you have a day where every single one of those things happens, no way, because it's that little lumberjack just chomping away at you. You stub your toe. Oh, there's no hot water in the shower. Oh, I'm out of shampoo. Oh, there's no clean towels. Oh, the cat slept on my clothes. Now I have cat fur all over. Boom, where's the lint roller? Boom, I'm late to work. Boom, I get a speeding ticket. Boom, I get fired. Ah! So it's really hard to have a good day once you have a whole bunch of those things. Richard, Lazarus's daily hassles. Those annoying everyday events in life. Now, society causes stress as well. It's a culture clash all over the place. Some people lean left, some people lean right. A lot of times those people with whom you don't agree are sitting across from you at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Uh-oh, Aunt Trudy's coming. Take deep breaths. Maybe we can get through this dinner without freaking out at Aunt Trudy. People that come from lower socioeconomic statuses, poorer areas in other words, have higher levels of stress. But why? Should be obvious. If you have no money, every day is a bit more of a fight for survival. Where if you have a lot of money, yeah, sure, you have problems. They have the expression, mo money, mo problems. But hunger isn't one of them. Violence isn't one of them. You're not going to get shot for your shoes, typically, because you got Stan the security guard in your gated community because you're so wealthy. People from low socioeconomic status have higher levels of stress. Let me give you this example. Let's suppose you have a wonderful job. You love it. Bad news. The job is being taken over by a foreign company. Good news. You keep your job. Bad news. Pretty much everyone you know, they get fired. They're out. You're the only one who speaks English at your job now. How's that gonna feel? Is that going to be more stressful? Are you going to enjoy your job as much as you did now that you're the only one who speaks your language? Then maybe you're starting to understand what it's like to be an immigrant here in America. Not only is there a language barrier, but there's a lot of cultural differences too that people find incredibly frustrating. This is known as a culture of stress. When you have two cultures and they kind of compete, a culture of stress. If you're a second generation child, meaning your family, your parents were the ones who came from another country, a lot of times you experience a culture of stress in your own home because maybe your parents are asking you to acclimate towards your heritage, the culture from which they originated. But you're feeling pulled towards the direction of American culture and you don't know which one to do. Do you stick with the family? Do you stick with the American, family, American, a lot of times people find a blended identity. Let's talk about conflict. Conflict is when you're torn between two decisions. And there's three different types of conflict. There's approach conflict, there's avoidance conflict, and there's approach conflict. Well, what's approach conflict? Approach conflict I call the Friday night conflict. You're out with your friends, you're having a good time, and then someone says, hey, let's go eat. And then your friend Hasim says, yeah, I'm starving. Good idea, Hasim. Where should we go? I'm thinking Italian. I'm thinking Mexican. I was hoping for just some fast food burgers. Uh-oh. All of those sound good, but which do you choose? This is known as approach conflict. You're torn between two pleasurable things. Do I go with the ravioli or the pasta fagioli? Now, this is the least stressful of the three, but it's still stressful because if you're like me, you've been in a situation where you've basically just said, oh my goodness, if someone doesn't pick something right now, I'm leaving. You know what I pick? I pick new friends. That's what I pick. If we're torn between Mexican and Italian, I'm choosing home. I'm going home because none of you all can make a decision. If you've ever had a situation like that, then you know what approach conflict is like. So what's avoidance? You're torn between two bad things. You're being tortured. And your torturer says, would you like the batteries to the nipples or the waterboarding? Both are horrible, but you must choose which one. Why don't you think about it while I go on lunch break, yeah? I'm gonna eat a nice juicy burger and you think about waterboarding or the battery. Shoes. That is a torturer that's good at their job because even when they're not there, they're torturing you with an avoidance conflict. So what do you think approach avoidance is? If you said you're torn between something that's appealing and something that's unappealing, wrong. That's not a conflict at all. Hey, I can give you $100 or I can kick your ass. Which one are you gonna choose? Obviously, you're gonna take the $100 I would assume. So that's not much of a conflict. No, this is the most common conflict, and actually it's the most stressful. It's where both decisions have very appealing aspects to them, but they also have very unappealing aspects to them. For instance, a new car. Do you go with a reliable car that's affordable? Or do you go with a really sportsy, nice car that makes you feel like you're lucky to be alive? But cha-ching! Same thing with schools. Do you go to Case Western Reserve University, private college, pretty prestigious, but cha-ching! Or do you go to Cleveland State University, right? State school, very affordable, but not as prestigious. Dating. Do you go with Billy, who has an amazing sense of humor, but you don't really want him touching you too much because he's not that easy on the eyes? Or do you go with Chadwick, who's very easy on the eyes, but dumb as a box of rocks, doesn't really have anything entertaining to say? My personal advice is wait until you find someone that meets both of those criteria, but you get the point. This is approach avoidance conflict. Hopefully that clarifies. So let's talk about how the mind and the body are connected, how you can worry yourself sick. Oh man, I shouldn't share this story, especially since it's being recorded, but here we go.
And now story time with Professor Gerding.
I was in a pretty intense relationship. We were having a relatively good time, but I knew I had to break up with this individual. We weren't really connecting very well. And I said, hey, I'm not sure you like me. There's a lot of things that I seem to do that makes me feel like you don't even want to spend time with me. So I think it's best that we don't spend time together anymore. And she said, wait, are you breaking up with me? Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't you want to break up? I assume that's what you wanted with the vibe I'm getting here. She just started throwing up everywhere. That was the first time I realized how tight the mind and body are connected, that you can actually instantly worry yourself sick. It's fascinating. Horrible story. Doesn't make me look good, that's for sure. We did get together because I was like, I didn't realize that you liked me that much. I didn't realize that you'd be so upset you'd start puking. Anyway.
Thanks for watching Story Time. Yay!
Point is, your mind affects your body. Stress kills you. It kills you. And it kills you in two ways. One, directly, and another way, indirectly. We're going to talk about indirect effects of stress right meow. And then we're going to spend pretty much the rest of the video talking about direct effects of stress. Indirect effects of stress. The unhealthy behaviors in which you engage because you're stressed out. Normally you wouldn't do this, but because you're stressed, you do it. And that thing you're doing, not so healthy. What are some examples? Most common example? Eating. What a crappy day. Give me some Oreos. Smoking. You don't quit on me, cigarettes. You won't leave me for another man. I love you. Jumping over the Springfield Gorge because you don't think you have enough friends.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Woohoo! Woohoo!
Drugs, getting into fist fights. All those unhealthy behaviors that you probably wouldn't have done if you weren't stressed, that's indirect effects of stress. So let's talk about direct effects of stress. Let me give you the quick, dirty rundown. Long story short, when you get stressed out, you have an adrenaline rush. Stress! Your body starts releasing lymphocytes, your white blood cells. It's getting ready for infection. And you don't have an unlimited supply at any given time of white blood cells. However, what if that stress doesn't go away? It's horrible if you have AIDS because your T cell count is decreasing and you need to make sure that you have enough white blood cells to fight common infections and opportunistic diseases. And that's basically what stress does. If you get really stressed out, you're wasting all those lymphocytes. That's why if you're really stressed, you're more likely to get sick. That's why when you get stressed, maybe a virus that your body has but has been successfully suppressing, stay away virus, no longer has the energy to suppress it. And boop, the virus comes back. I'm talking about herpes. So let's break down the direct effects of stress into a 3-stage process. Hans Lee is the researcher, and Hans Lee called this the general adaptation syndrome. First stage, alarm. You're initially stressed out. You're walking down the street, and suddenly I jump out of the bushes at you. Ha! Heart rate goes through the roof. This is because your adrenal medulla releases catecholamines. What the heck are catecholamines? Adrenaline. Now you have a bunch of names for adrenaline. Adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine if it's a neurotransmitter. Increased respiratory response, palms sweaty, mouth dry, pupils dilate, heart rate through the roof. Digestive system stops. But what happens if that stress doesn't go away? What happens if you're an air traffic controller? Or you've got a test coming up, but that test isn't for 2 weeks. This is the next stage, and this is known as resistive. In the resistive stage, the body actively tries to resist the stressors. In the alarm stage, your adrenal medulla is releasing catecholamines. But in the resistive stage, your adrenal cortex is releasing corticosteroids. That's not a coincidence. Adrenal cortex, corticosteroids, steroids. Steroids! It's the equivalent of pacing itself, because in stage 1 alarm, your body starts sprinting. But it's a marathon. And are you supposed to sprint in a marathon? No, you're supposed to, stage 2 resistive, pace yourself. So instead of rapidly releasing all of these lymphocytes, this autoimmunitory response, all at once, it starts pacing itself. But can you run forever? No. Eventually, you're going to tax your resources too much, and that's the 3rd and final stage, and that's known as exhaustion. You're eventually going to have to relax. If you don't relax, if you don't stress down, you can pass out. Heart problems, death. If you're in a relationship, now if your partner is stressing you out, you can tell them, "You're killing me." No, really, you're killing me. Let me explain using Hans Lee's general adaptation syndrome. I'm past the alarm stage, I'm in the resistive stage, and you're pushing me to exhaustion. That's right, baby, you're killing me and I'm about to die. Thank you, Hans Lee, for helping me explain to my partner how they're killing me with their stressing. Not all of us are stressed. Some of us will see something and say, "Ah!" And others of us will see the same thing and go, "Hey, why are we so different with the way we handle stress?" Let's talk about perceived control. This experiment by Langer and Roden in 1977, they looked at different nursing homes, retirement homes, assisted living care, etc. Now, for some of you watching this video, you may have been or may be put in a situation where you're not able to take care of your mother or father and you need additional help. And maybe you've made the difficult decision to put them in assisted care. But there's different types of assisted care homes. Which one do you choose? Here's the 2 basic categories. Group 1, you have an activities director, and her name is Heidi. And Heidi says, "Hi, I'm Heidi, and I'm your activity director. And listen, we have a full schedule of events for you. I hope you do them. At 8 in the morning, we have aquasizing. So I hope you wake up your sleepy bones and get into the pool and do some group-led water exercises. It's really good for you. Then there's gonna be breakfast, and then after breakfast, we're gonna have bingo. Yay! We hope you stay for bingo. You don't have to if you don't want to, but we hope you join us. And then after bingo, there's Murder, She Wrote on television. Yay! And then after that, maybe some Matlock. But then we got lunch. And after lunch, hope you join us for some shuffleboard. We got some shuffleboard going outside. You don't have to if you don't want to, but we hope you do. Hey, my name's Heidi. I'm your activity director. Ha-ha! Point is, in group 1, they have a choice. Do they do those activities, or do they just stay in their own room, doing their own thing, watching television, etc.? Group 2, the activities director is Helga. Hello, my name is Helga, and we have activities, and you will do them, and you will like it. Schnell, schnell. At 8 in the morning, we have aquasizing, and you will aquasize, and you will like it. Schnell, schnell. And then there's the bingo, and you will play the bingo. And you will like it. There's no sleeping on me. Nein! Then there's lunch, and then you have the Matlock, and you will watch it. And then, what did I say? the shuffleboard. And after lunch, you will play the shuffleboard. Point is, group 2, they have enforced activities, and both of these nursing homes exist. The selling point for group 1 is, hey, we're just there to provide activities for your mom or dad. It's up to them to do it if they want to. Group 2 is, we're gonna make sure that your parent doesn't just sit in their bed all day. We're gonna make sure that they're getting their necessary socialization and exercise. And they measured the health outcomes of these 2 groups. In which of these 2 groups do you think had a much higher level of life satisfaction and lived longer, happier lives? The other group died much sooner, and I hate saying it, much more miserably, rating higher levels of stress. So do you think it was group 1 that lived longer? Or group 2? Was it you choose your activities, or was it enforced activities? The answer is freedom of choice. Freedom of choice! Freedom of choice is so important, that sense of autonomy. If you remember Erik Erikson's 8 psychosocial stages, you'll remember that autonomy is incredibly important. This idea that you're in control of your life. And if you rob someone of that, as oversimplified as it sounds, you're robbing them of the will to live. So now, this is very important. If you are faced with that decision of choosing a retirement home to put your parent in, hopefully this research from Langer and Roden helps you decide. Especially if you want that inheritance sooner. Let's shift really quick, and we're going to talk about optimism versus pessimism. Is that glass half full, or is that glass half empty? You're at some breeding ground. The dance club. You see someone that you find attractive, and you decide, hey, I'm going to try to meet this person. So you walk up to this person. Hey, I don't know pickup lines. Hey, I like looking at you because you're attractive. You want to dance with me and maybe have a conversation, which may lead to other things outside of this loud environment where we can be alone and maybe establish a relationship in the future? And their response is the worst possible imaginable response. Oh my, are you hitting on me? Oh my, you think you have a chance? Oh my, Trudy, you think I've never been so insulted in my life? You're actually, I can't, you're disgusting. I can't, you've been rejected hard. How do you explain that? Do you use the optimistic style or the pessimistic style? What is the optimistic style? The optimistic style uses external, unstable, and specific explanations. External, meaning not you. Oh, something's going on here. I may not know what's going on, but maybe she's sick. Unstable, meaning it's not forever, temporarily, like maybe this is just an off day. And specific explanations. Clearly, she had the shrimp cocktail. You shouldn't order seafood from a bar like this. So what she's experiencing is the hallucinogenic sick response from bad shrimp. That's the optimistic explanatory style. Or do you go the pessimistic explanatory style, which is the exact opposite of that, where you use internal, stable, and global explanations. Internal, whose fault is this? It's yours. Oh my goodness, who's hideous in this situation? I am. I'm ugly. Stable. When am I ugly? All the time, always. I'm always ugly. Global. Where are you ugly? I'm ugly everywhere. Even if I go to, what's a country I want to insult? Croatia. They find me ugly in Croatia. My apologies to Croatia. So here's the thing. Optimistic people live longer, healthier lives. Let's talk about personality types. Are you type A or type B? Sometimes some people say, I'm a type A personality. A lot of people don't know what that means because that's not a compliment. In fact, again, this may be an oversimplification, but the A kind of stands for asshole. The 3 very specific personality traits for someone to be called type A: competitive, time urgent, and hostile. Competitive, I gotta win. I gotta be on top. If you ain't first, you're last. Time urgent, I wanna be on time. Can't be late. Hostile, hey, you! Get out of my way, pal! You disgust me. Yeah, so if you say that you're a type A personality, you're not just saying that you like to be on time and that you're competitive, you're very hostile about it. Asshole. But then you have the type B personality, which I find interesting that It's called type B because type B personality is kind of the opposite of type A. But they say A a lot because type B is very laid back. You get into a car accident. Hey, you're fired. You're not responsible enough. I'm leaving you. Hey. That's type B personality. So, which one of those types do you think is living longer and happier? At this point, it should be obvious. It's type B. So, relax. So, what's killing type A personality? Is it the time urgency? Is it a competitiveness? Or is it the hostility? So in an experiment, they isolated each of these 3 personality traits. They looked at people that were competitive, but weren't really time urgent and weren't really hostile. There's plenty of people that are competitive but show up late and they're nice people. Then they found people that were time urgent but weren't really competitive and weren't really hostile. These are the people that like to show up on time. But then they found people that were hostile, that weren't really competitive, and weren't really time urgent. And so they isolated these 3 personality traits. So which of these 3 personality traits do you think is correlated to an early death? Specifically, heart problems. The answer is hostility. So keep that in mind. Don't be hostile. And I hate saying this, when you meet someone who's really hostile, the good news is they're gonna die. Let's finish this talk all about stress. Let's talk about coping. So we have stress. We have different ways we handle stress, but how do you cope? There's basically 2 different methods to cope with stress. There's problem focused and there's emotion focused. If you got a problem and you can fix it, you should do that. And that's problem focused. But let's suppose there's a problem you're not sure if you can fix or not. If you can't change the problem, what do you have to change? Yourself. I'll give you an example. Your mom, she smothers you. In fact, you can't spell smother without the word mother in it. So when your mom smothers you, are you gonna stop your mom from smothering you? Chances aren't great that you will. So here are some emotion-focused coping strategies. There's escape avoidance. If you have a horrible marriage, when you're done with the work, you don't go home, you go to the bar. That's escape avoidance. Distancing. You minimize the impact of the stressor, right? You get fired and you say, I didn't need that job anyway. I'll be fine. Denial. You refuse that there's even a problem there. It's similar to distancing where you create distance of the impact, but denial is deeper because you just refuse that it's even existed. You get fired on Friday. What do you do on Monday? Good morning, Trudy. Wishful thinking. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have terminal cancer. That's not cancer. That's my mutation. I'm gonna become an X-Men. Those are my wings growing in. I'm gonna fly away. Seeking social support. This is one of the most common ones. Something bad happens, you call your friends, your family. Oh my goodness, help, help. Positive reappraisal. Look at the silver lining wherever you can find it. You've been fired and you tell yourself, you know what, I wasn't really happy in that job and I always wanted to create my own psychology YouTube series. So now that I don't have that job anymore, I'm gonna make psychology videos on YouTube. Or write that book I've always been wanting to write. And then there's downward comparison. Maybe you were fired, so you point to someone who's homeless and say, well, at least I'm not that person. I still got some money. So when you are faced with something stressful, take a time out and ask yourself, is this something that I can change? If so, you do problem-focused coping. And there's a couple of ways to do problem-focused coping. One is confrontive coping. You just confront the problem right there and then as quick as you can. A little bit of advice. The longer you wait to confront someone on a problem, the more awkward and difficult it would be. Don't wait weeks and weeks and weeks and say, hey, remember that thing you said 3 weeks ago on Tuesday the 3rd? It really hurt my feelings. But let's suppose you don't think direct conversation and confrontation will work. Well, then you come up with a plan. Planful problem solving, a strategy. Let's suppose you work really hard at your job. There's a promotion coming up and you think you're a shoo-in for the promotion, but you don't get it. Who gets it? Larry. Larry's always late. Larry's always in the janitor's closet getting high. If you did confrontive problem solving, you talk directly to the boss. You don't have to be hostile. You don't have to kick open the door. Hey, what the hell, man? Why'd you give the job to Larry? You can have a sit down and say, hey, I thought I was more qualified. I've been showing up on time. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. But if you don't think that would help planful problem solving, what's the plan? How are you going to cope with this? You got to come up with a plan. Murder Larry. How you gonna do it? Don't want to get caught. Make sure you don't leave any DNA behind. Where are you gonna bury the body, right? We all know that you should check the obituaries, find where there's already a grave. Here's another one. Dig a really deep grave, 10 feet, bury the body, put 4 feet of dirt on it, then put a dead dog on top of it so it's 6 feet under. So when they're digging up for the body, like, oh, it's a dead dog. We thought it was a dead, and they'll stop there. That's a good planful problem solving. But if you know that no plan and no confrontation is gonna help you get over your problem, well, that's when it's time to do emotion-focused coping. Hey, I hope that this really helps you in your day-to-day life. If you're watching this right now and you're stressed, remember that it's hurting your health and it's not worth it. So relax. I don't want you to have a miserable life and a short life because of stress.
Just gonna relax.
I'm Professor Gerding. Thanks so much. Leave some comments, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I love psychology. Thanks for watching.